audience to the March 19th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Would you all please stand while Coach Williams does the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance?
Dear God, we thank you for allowing us to see another blessed day. Give us our sins and our shortcomings and make us fit. Pray, Lord, blessings upon our new president. Pray for those who suffer throughout the land. Leaders, that we might do that which is right.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stephanie, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Latricia Cobb. Here. Mr. Keith DeBrock.
Here.
Mr. Kirk Smith.
Here.
Ms. Janelle Hyatt.
Here.
Mr. Art Little.
Here.
Mr. Jake Porsche.
Here.
Mr. Carl Vincent.
Here.
Mr. LaSalle Williams.
Here.
Ms. Deanne Winey.
Here.
Vice Chair Sharon Galicia.
Here.
Chair Julia Dickerson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
This is an 11-member board. It will take a majority of those members present to grant or deny any request heard tonight. The chair will refrain from voting unless the vote might affect the outcome. The meeting will be conducted with me reading the requests from the agenda. The planning staff will give a presentation and report their recommendations. If the applicant would like to add to the staff's presentation, or if someone from the audience has comments, please come to the microphone and state your name, address, and the nature of your request. All persons wishing to speak other than the applicant need to fill out a blue request to appear form located in the back of this room. The form must be given to a staff member prior to the reading of the agenda item. As required by this board's bylaws, in all cases, the proponents will be limited to 10 minutes. Opponents will be granted 10 minutes as well, with each speaker allowed no more than 3 minutes. I recommend that a spokesperson be selected if there is a large group wanting to speak on the same agenda item. If 4 or more speaker request forms are submitted, the time allowed for individual speakers will be limited based upon the number of forms submitted. The chair has the right to limit speakers who present redundant information or personal attacks. In unique situations, the chair may extend, or the board may vote to extend, the time allotted for speakers. After discussion, the board will vote on each request. I will announce the decision of the board after the vote. The exception is final tonight. The rezoning cases will go before the police jury for final action on Thursday, March 21st, 2024. This meeting is being filmed by the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel and can be viewed on Wednesday and Thursday following the meeting. For additional run dates, check the website at www.calcasieu.gov. Channel 5 in Lake Charles, Sulphur, Moss Bluff, Westlake, Vinton, DeQuincy, and Gillis. Channel 99 in Carlos and Grand Lake. Please either turn off or silence all electronic devices. Take appropriate action to approve the minutes of regular meeting of the February 20th, 2024 Planning and Zoning meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Ms. Cobb made the motion and Mrs. Hyatt seconded the motion. Minutes approved. Exception 6A. Take appropriate action on the following application. 2007 Jacobson Road in Ward 4. Exception to allow a borrow pit, 0.11 acres. 0.11 acres. The applicant Justin Foreman, EX 0224-1095. I'll entertain a motion for approval with condition. Ms.
Second.
Cobb made the motion. I need a second, and Ms. Hyatt seconded the motion. Mrs. Tunn.
This property is in Carlos and encompasses 3 acres of land. The applicant is requesting an exception to excavate less than a quarter acre borrow pit. In order for the applicant to move forward with this project, they must receive board approval. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends the request be granted with the following conditions. That the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development. That the development must be in accordance with Section 26-122 1H4X through XIII of the Parish Code of Ordinances. That a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, and that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices.
Thank you, Ms. Tyne. If the applicant is here and would like to speak, please come to the podium at this time. And as you're walking forward, I just would like to remind you to please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Justin Foreman. My address is 2007 Jacobson Road, Sulphur, Louisiana,
Thank you.
70665.
Thank you.
I planned on making this borrow pit in order to help with drainage after heavy rains like we have been having. I've held 2 to 3 inches of water for weeks on a time, and it kind of limits the amount of land I'm able to use and utilize.
Okay. Thank you.
It,
That's it. Does the board have any questions or comments for the applicant? Or any questions for the staff?
the contractor that's digging it's going to be taking it off.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Okay. We don't have any blue cards or opposition on this item, so all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed state nay. Motion passes. Rezoning 7A, take appropriate action on the following application, 5545 Swift Plant Road in Ward 3 to rezone from mixed residential R2 to light industrial I1 to allow industrial development, a contractor shop, and a storage yard. The applicant, Turnasol Properties, LLC, RZ-0124-0262. I'll entertain a motion for approval with condition. Ms. Cobb made the motion and Coach made the second motion. Mrs. Tyne.
Property is located in East Lake Charles and encompasses just under a half acre of vacant land. If approved, the applicant will construct a 40 by 75-foot building that will include an office space with warehouse area. Because the proposed zoning is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends the request be granted with the following conditions. That the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development. That all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development and the light source cannot be visible to the adjacent properties. That screening must be provided in accordance with Section 2650 of the Parish Code of Ordinances prior to final electrical approval. That a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, and that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices.
Thank you, Ms. Tyne. If the applicant is here and would like to speak, you may come to the podium at this time. And please state your name and address for the record.
Robin Bissoni, 528 Kirby Street, Lake Charles, representing Andrew Gary, the owner. We're available for any questions and or can address any concerns after the public comment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We also have a blue card at this time. It's Charlotte Lejeune at this time. You could come make your way to the podium, and just a reminder to state your name and, oh,
It says 7A.
maybe it's 7C. Okay, no problem. No problem. Thank you. Board members, do you have any questions or comments for the applicant?
Madam President?
Yes, sir. Mr. Little?
I guess it's to the applicant. Is this property being purchased if this thing goes through? He owns the property? Yes. And
He owns that tract, also the one immediately to the east, which was already developed in this same manner.
is this application going to be just for these two, or is he going to absorb all four pieces to build this shop?
The
The two
shop,
to the east won't be part of his construction?
no, they're already developed.
Oh, we have something on there?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. In the photographs, you can see the building.
Okay.
The newer, right there to the right.
Ah, okay. Thank
So
you.
he did that one. That one's complete and occupied.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just a comment
Mr.
in
Little?
regards to, I know this is consistent to the area to a sort, but we're coming into the area with some R2 that's on both, all around this property. I know the ordinance for screening, is this, what kind of screening, or is there anything that designates the type of screening to protect these residents on to the west side of these people?
Well, the screening can be, it can either be hurricane fence with slats, or it can be a wooden fence, or it can be landscape too. So they have that choice under that section of the code.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Ms. Stephanie, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Vincent? Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
Ms. Winey?
Yes.
Yes.
Cobb?
Motion passes. Okay. Item 7B, take appropriate action on the following application, 2862 South Douglas Parkway in Ward 4 to rezone from light commercial C1 to general commercial C2 to allow commercial development, auto truck sales and service and rental. Applicant Brimstone Rentals, INC RZ-0224-0263. I'll entertain a motion for approval with condition. Ms. Cobb made the motion and Ms. Hyatt seconded the motion. Ms. Dunn.
This property is in Sulphur on South Douglas Parkway. The applicant intends to lease the existing building to Southern Coast Truck and Equipment. If approved, the leasee will operate an auto truck sales service rental business. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends the request be granted with the condition that 6-foot screening is required along the west property line in accordance with Section 2650 of the Parish Code of Ordinances.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. We don't have any blue cards on this item. Do the board members have any comments or questions for the staff?
Oh,
No.
oh, dear,
Oh,
the applicant.
if the
Okay.
applicant, oh, sorry. Applicant, if you'd like to speak, you're more than welcome to come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Shannon Clark,
Thank you.
1304 Lilliput Lane in Sulphur.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be trying to lease the building from Brimstone Rentals for auto sales, like cleaning of the vehicles and stuff like that, presentation and storage. So that's about it. And I'll take any questions anybody
Okay.
has.
Thank you. Staff, do y'all have any questions? I mean, board members? Staff? No? Okay. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state nay. Motion passes. Okay. Item 8A, Item 7C, take appropriate action on the following application, the 2000 block of Patton Street in Ward 4 to rezone from Central Business Commercial C3 to Light Industrial I1 to allow industrial development, contractor shop, and storage yard. The applicant, JRP Family Limited Partnership, RZ-0224-0264. I'll entertain a motion for approval with condition. Ms. Cobb made the motion, and Mrs. Hyatt seconded the motion. Mrs. Tunn.
This property is in Sulphur and encompasses just over a half acre of vacant land. If approved, the applicant will construct a 50-foot by 130-foot building that will include office space and warehouse area. Because the development is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development and the light source cannot be visible to the adjacent properties, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 2650 of the Parish Code of Ordinances prior to final electrical approval, that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, and that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices.
Thank you, Ms. Tunn. If the applicant's here and would like to speak, please come to the podium at this time and state your name and address for the record.
Matt Redd, 1424 Ryan Street, Lake Charles.
Thank you.
I'm here on behalf of the JRP Family Limited Partnership and who's the seller of the land, and then also Mr. Garrett Coates, who is the developer of the property. And I'm here to answer any questions, and I think there may be some opposition, so we're here to answer any of their questions also.
Thank you, Mr. Redd. Okay, at this time, we do have two blue cards. Charlotte Lejeune.
As the speakers come up, a reminder of the 3 minutes each.
Okay. Ms. Lejeune, you have, if you don't mind, state your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Charlotte Lejeune. My address is 926 Ashley Lane, Sulphur, Louisiana 70665. I'm against the proposal along with my neighbors, and there's only 4 houses on our little street. And my perspective is one of first impressions and in the interest of aesthetics and future development of our community. This area of Interstate 10, which we're very close to, is a very high volume of traffic. Lots of travelers get off at this exit and get gas and things. And it's, frankly, it's already a little ugly. The properties that have been built there recently, Sherwin-Williams and Phoenix Electric, which are zoned C3, I think, have done a good job, and it's nice looking. I and our neighbors were concerned about the noise and how it might affect our home value, but I think that first impressions of an area are important, and I do not want to see a light industrial structure this close to my house and this close to this major intersection where so many people pass. I'm the mother of 2 United States Marines, and my neighbor, his son, is about to go to boot camp. So that's 3 United States Marines on our little street. When we went to his boot camp graduation in November, all along the way, along interstates and small towns, they really did a good job. This place looks really nice, town after town. I would really like one day to be able to say that about Sulphur and our exit, Beglis Parkway exit in our area. We have a nice little street. It's quiet. We get along. We give to the community. And we would appreciate the consideration that our community, our little neighborhood, our little street stays like it is.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, Ms. Lejeune, we have a board member that has a question.
Okay.
You said it's 4 people on your street?
Well, there's 4 residences.
Okay, so who's here with you today?
I live at 926 Ashley Lane, which is the house at the bottom. The Scarpulas, they live on Golden Leaf, and Mr. Danny lives on Ashley, and our other neighbor is not here, the one whose boy is about to go to the Marines.
4 houses?
There's 4 houses on our street.
Okay.
Mhm. And there's the lot next to me and the lot in question were several years ago by Palermo et al., whoever, completely just deforested. They were wooded lots, which created a buffer. They completely razed the area with no warning and no plans to do anything about it. So the Scarpula's house is completely exposed to Patton Street and the interstate, and it is noisy.
Thank you.
So I don't have a good first impression of the people who want to do this.
Thank you. The next person, Tony Scarpula. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Scarpula.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
close enough.
If you don't mind, state your name.
They all
and-
get it wrong all the time, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. Please state your name and address.
My name's Tony Scarpula. I live at 2711 Gold Leaf Lane in Sulphur. I live right behind the property that's wanting to be changed. I really don't have a problem with them building a building or have offices in a yard to park in and all that. It's just that everything from Begless is, the Paradise is C3, USA is 3C, Phoenix Electric is C3, Sherwin-Williams is C3, and the building on the corner of our street is C3 and light industrial. Why is it 2? I have no idea, but it's been like that a long time. But I mean, this neighborhood has been a neighborhood since the late 70s with one house. And one of the guys, he's not going to speak, but he is here tonight. The other guy can't be here. His ship came in. The ship where he works came in. He couldn't work. He couldn't be here. But it's been a neighborhood way before that was anything. Now, I know the other half of the street is city property where Herc Rental is the main office, and our side is outside the city limits, which is, I guess, Parish. But they want to take and go from C3 to light industrial. And I know you all know what light industrial means. I'm not going to read all 50 things, but there's some things that we would not want. We wouldn't want motorcycle repair shops. We wouldn't want a sandblasting shop. We wouldn't want a transit vehicle storage place. We wouldn't want a tire recycling, but it says it can happen. And if it does change to light industrial, that gives them the right to do whatever they want, because once this passes, that becomes law, and it doesn't matter what we think, and that would devalue our property. We don't want to look at that. You got to think outside the box. If it was next to yours, you wouldn't want to drive into your subdivision and see tires stacked up or machinery stacked up waiting to be sandblasted, not to mention the blasting and the painting that will go on. And I mean, when I bought it, it wasn't industrial, so, you know, we'd like to keep it. And our houses go from 225 to 355. We got a neighbor that lives right next to that property. His is valued right at over $600,000. I mean, he can't be here tonight either. He's in Bernie, Texas. But I mean, we just like to see that y'all see it that as we see it. You know, it's a nice little neighborhood. It's clean. It's not trashy. And we just think that they could have an office with some building and whatever, just like it is at C3. I don't see where it needs to be light industrial, you know, and there's 4 of us and only one of them that, you know, we think you would side with us. I mean, being that we don't want it and there's only one person that wants it, you know. That's basically all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Scarpula. Thank you. Thank you. Is there any questions for Mr. Scarpula before he returns back to speak? No? Okay. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right, thank you.
At this time, the applicant, if you don't mind, maybe come back and you can address some of their concerns.
Thank you. Number one, I just want to point out when Mr. Palermo did develop this area, he did have C3 along Begless and along Patton, and then he did develop. He's the one that originally developed the residential lots behind there, and so this was all, from what my understanding, this was set up this way before any of it was sold. I don't necessarily disagree with Mr. Sargula. Apologize. Wes, I'm asking, I believe the kicker on this, taking it from C3 to light industrial, is the aggregate yard.
So if someone, if he wants to develop a contractor shop with a laydown yard, it requires an I-1 zoning classification. And if that's specifically what he's intending to do, then he can, that's the zoning classification he needs to go to.
So but I'm not, this is gonna be, it's for lease, okay? So we don't know the business going in there. We certainly want the business that goes in there to adhere to the area, which, we have a Sherman-Williams. I built the Herc across the street. Mr. Coates, who's doing this development, owns the building next door, which is the former Shell Oil Company storage office warehouse facility, which we've now leased to Herc, which is their generator air conditioning yard. So that's the kind of business we intend to have there. I was under the impression that we could build this as it is but you have to concrete the entire piece of property, and what he's after is to build this building with an aggregate yard. Of course, have parking that's paved, but also have an area that's with the aggregate yard, which is what triggers light industrial.
I'm not sure if I'm following. But
So I guess where I'm going with this is, if they want to stipulate us not to have a sandblasting yard, they want to stipulate us not to have a motorcycle repair shop. I mean, I 100% agree, and we're here to ask y'all to put those stipulations in and approve it so Mr. Coates can go about his business.
Madam President?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Question
Little.
for the staff. So the reason it's going to I-1 is because of the laydown yard itself?
So if and that's where, you call it a laydown yard. I mean, it's going to be a storage yard. Shell's got it next door. That's a storage yard. We've got it across the street at Herc. It's a storage yard, but it's aggregate, which in my opinion is actually better for the water drainage plan because it goes into the ground. It doesn't run off into your ditches.
You're talking about the surface?
The surface.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you going to park those trailers
Yeah,
or whatever?
we
you
haven't,
park
this
them?
is not in one of our overlay districts, so I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out what was going, but certainly they can have a limestone surfaced parking or laydown area.
It wouldn't matter what the-
Unless the board stipulates,
So
another
it wouldn't matter
material.
what the surface is if it's
No.
stipulated a laydown yard?
Yeah, if it's a laydown yard, if you're gonna have things out there that, whether that be construction material, or if you have, rental equipment or anything like that, that's the zoning classification. The I-1 is the zoning classification that requires you for that.
And it doesn't matter if it's paved or aggregate?
No, that has nothing to do with it. So really, C3 allows for like shopping malls, things like that, where you don't have outdoor lay-down yards or anything like that. This is really designed, I-1 is more, we have a multitude of uses as he indicated, but if they're intended.
So just adjacent to this property, one of the applicants or people in opposition said that it's mixed C3 and light industrial? It's a mixed zoning? Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, the property on the southwest corner.
Yeah, just to the
Patton,
west.
That was I-1. That's been existing like that since comprehensive zoning, I would think. Did we rezone it?
So for discussion's sake.
It may have been rezoned years ago.
That could possibly become a motorcycle repair shop tomorrow.
Could, yeah, sure. Unless there was a stipulation.
Right, which
Back
Mr.
when
Reds offered.
if it was rezoned back then and the board imposed a stipulation to say, hey, this is the only type of use you can put here, that's it. This board has the authority to do that.
Right.
You can regulate the uses on the property, and you can narrow it down as to what would be allowed on that property.
But part of the issue now is we don't know who the tenant would be to get that specific, but we could put a couple conditions for a couple
Good.
major exclusions.
Sure.
That would be more on the heavy light industrial side.
You certainly could, yeah.
I mean, personally, myself, I'm looking right across the street and just looking at some of the pictures. I mean, I understand the light industrial request because of the possible laydown yard, but I also understand the opposition's concern about what it could be, so
Well, like I said, I mean, if y'all want to stipulate this thing where there's no sandblasting, I certainly.
Yeah.
You want to come up, that's fine. Yeah, come on up.
Do you-
We're here to work with them.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
no? Huh?
Sorry.
Hang on just a minute.
Okay, come on, son.
Not your meeting, Matt.
Do you-
Well, I don't have
Getting ready to
anything.
get a gavel.
Does the,
Yeah, I don't have anything, whether it's gravel or whether it's concrete, that doesn't really matter. But if it's just gonna be a building with a shop and a yard, I don't have a problem with that. And he says he's okay if you put the stipulations where you can't sandblast. The thing is, if it was a mechanic shop, the new cars go to the dealerships. The older cars sit there and wait to be worked on. If it's a sandblasting place, they bring in pieces of equipment that are rusty, need care. We don't want to look at that coming in our subdivision. So, but if you can make the stipulations where he wouldn't do that, I'm great for him building a building. I mean, hey, there's nothing like being an entrepreneur. I mean, do it. I don't have a problem with that, but we just wanted it to look very presentable, like all the other ones that are C3, and all the other ones look great. We don't have a problem with even what he does on the corner right there.
Thank you. Mr. Porcher?
I can see from the site plan that they do have plans for screening with some nice landscaping. And I would be okay with presenting a motion to add sandblasting as an exclusion to the original motion.
You have a second?
Second?
Okay, so,
Take a vote on, take
So-
discussion and then
Discussion.
vote
Okay.
on the amended motion.
so, does it,
Are we gonna just limit it to sandblasting? Or,
Currently, that's
question.
what it is, but we could.
Tire recycling.
I mean,
we're
he's
go- we're
probably
gonna let
got
the board
several
discuss this at
items
this
that he
time,
wants
If you
to.
don't mind, hang on just a minute.
Ms. Dickerson,
So-
if I can make a suggestion.
sir.
Are we finished with comments?
Yes, sir, yes.
Then, okay, sit down. Now it's up to you
Yes,
guys.
thank you.
Okay, comments
Okay.
are over.
Thank you.
Now, we've got a
Right.
motion to amend to add a stipulation.
Okay.
Do we have any discussion on that?
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Little.
I would like to either ask the staff or get his paper that has all those listings on there of what it could be. Tire recycling, motorcycle shop, I mean, I don't know what all these are, but that tire recycling would be worse than that sandblasting.
We're,
Can you give me those so that we can?
so let me say this too. This is a request to rezone. So this is not the final say here.
I agree.
So at this point, I would suggest if you do want to add another stipulation of excluded uses.
What the yellow is what we really didn't like.
Okay.
And maybe we just defer this matter, if this is what we're going to do. If we're going to have a discussion right now of all these other things that might or might not be, I don't know that I can really give you guys advice on what we should put in this amended motion.
So are we wanting to defer it at this time?
This
Or
is
the
not
applicant
this
can
is
get
your
that
meeting,
down.
and again, the applicant might not want to defer it.
Yeah.
But again, if we're going to start trying to make the fly of what this can or cannot be,
Yes.
I'm not ready to do that.
Okay.
Could be a long list.
Could be a long list. And so, again, right now, the only thing in front of you right now is the motion to add a stipulation of no sandblasting. It's been seconded. So if we have any
Okay.
more discussion on that,
Yes. Ms.
Derek,
Felicia?
what if we let the applicant and the neighborhood talk about it and kind of come up with what they don't want, rather than just specifying?
Well, right now we need to vote on the sandblasting,
Well,
is that correct?
Well, if you want to make a motion to defer this matter,
Okay.
that would take precedence over any amended
Is that what you're,
motion.
are y'all okay with deferring?
I make a motion, we defer.
Okay.
A second.
Yes.
Okay, so all in favor,
Wait,
state
wait,
aye.
before we do that.
Okay,
Is there any discussion on the motion to defer?
okay. Do we have any discussion on the motion?
I
to
do
defer?
have a couple questions, if, before we defer.
Okay,
And that way, we can revisit it. We may have these answers if we don't have them this evening. Just looking at the zoning history, where is 2010 Patton Street in relation to this property? Okay. I'm just looking at 2014, they
aerial.
rezoned from manufacturing home park and light commercial to light industrial. That was in 2014. 2016, it rezoned from manufactured home park, general commercial to recreational vehicle and light industrial. So along this corridor, and that's at 2211 Patton. Okay, so y'all know I'm a stickler for precedent and things. I'm just looking through the history here, and this area has a pattern of moving towards here. I was just wanting to see where that falls out in this property, especially in relation to the immediate property to the west, currently being zoned light industrial. I do appreciate the applicant's willingness to work. I wanted to know in relation to that. So when we do revisit this in a month, I can be a little more educated.
And I did speak with Mr. Red, and he is okay with a deferral to next meeting.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
happy to defer it, and we'll meet with the neighborhood behind us the first we met with them.
Okay.
And we'll hopefully come back with a list of approved uses of
Okay.
our property.
Thank you, thank you. So for the board, are we all in favor of deferring this? State aye. Any opposed, state nay. Okay, we will
See you.
defer the meeting.
See y'all in April.
Defer. Thank you. Okay, so next item on the agenda is 8A, take appropriate action on a request by the Calcasieu Parish Division of Planning and Development on a proposed amendments on Chapter 26 of the Calcasieu Parish Code of Ordinances. I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of a proposed amendments. Ms. Cobb made the motion. I need a second. Ms. Hyatt seconded the motion. The floor will be opened for any public comments at this time. Okay.
And Madam Chairman, we, just for the record, we haven't received any written opposition or any comments regarding this. So.
Okay. So does the board have any comments?
Thank you for your work and your diligence.
And so, at this time, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state nay. Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the police jury took the following action on February 22nd, 2024, with reference to the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning from February 20th, 2024 meeting. Mr. Lewis, LLC, Planning and Zoning recommended approval, and the police jury approved. Philip Gazzino, ETAL, Planning and Zoning recommended approval, and the police jury approved. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the next regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning meeting will be held on Tuesday, April the 16th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Hyatt made the motion, and I need a second. Ms. Cobb made the second. Meeting adjourned.